Welcome to the Lean Out Your Business podcast, a show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs accelerate business growth and simplify success. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and I've been working with businesses for more than 2 decades to help them lean out and optimize what's working while eliminating anything that's not adding value. So if you are ready to get more time back in your day, more profit in your business, and to do business differently, growing and scaling on your terms, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. I don't know about you, but I am so happy that spring is finally here. This winter has felt especially long, and I am ready for just the beauty and the growth of the spring season. I absolutely love that feeling of possibility and freshness and newness in the spring. It's one of my favorite seasons. I think I might be more of a fall person, but I love spring and fall for different reasons. But spring to me is all about growth and renewal and possibility. And I feel like this is also the spring season of our business in a lot of ways, right? Things are still a little wonky out there. Sales are still a little odd for a lot of people. It's hard to really predict what's working. Things seem to be shifting a lot. I know in some markets, sales are actually picking back up again, especially for those of you who serve bigger companies. A lot of the sales are starting to pick back up again. People are starting to emerge and start to think about, okay, we've been holding off and kind of hiding from the people that we know we should be talking to for a little bit too long now. We're ready to start taking a look at what we should be doing to take our organization or our business to the next level. I'm finding it a little bit different in the small business space, but that being said, things are starting to shift. Things are starting to pop. And as a result, it's a really great time to be looking at how you can position your business for that renewal and for that growth that is ahead, I think, for many of us, especially those of us who work with and serve and support small businesses. So in today's episode, what I want to talk about is positioning your business for the growth that is ahead of it throughout the rest of this year. And we're going to talk specifically about doing a spring lean out. So I've talked about this in the past in the fall. I love doing lean outs in both spring and fall. They both have different focuses. Fall is setting yourself up to kind of end the year and end the year strong, whereas spring is setting yourself up for a season of growth ahead. So the things we're going to be talking about today is what can you let go of to create space for what's coming, but also what can you do to really strategically position yourself and prepare yourself for growth. So that's a little bit about what we're going to be diving into. And when I think about leaning out, just to level set on what lean out means, right? Lean, for any of you who may not be familiar with the term, is really about maximizing value and minimizing waste. You want to eliminate any waste in your business. And when I think about waste for our types of businesses, that's our time. It's our money, it's our energy, right? We do not want to be pouring our most precious resource, our time, our focus, our energy into things that are not the right things. What those right things are is unique to every single business. Generally speaking, if it's those things that are going to drive profitable growth for the business, profit, and the things that are going to be delivering value to your clients. So they're getting the transformation that they signed on for. They're getting the results that they signed on for. And so it's a combination of that profit, impact, fulfillment for you and for the business, and value for your clients. Anything outside of that is really considered waste, and that's what should be leaned out. So leaning it out is really just eliminating all of those things that do not matter so you can laser focus in on what does. And it's much easier to do in theory than it is to do in practice. As I've shared in prior episodes, right? You might know what to cut. You might have this feeling that something needs to change or that you need to cut something, but actually following through with that and doing it is really hard. We have so much of our identity tied to our business sometimes, tied to certain offers in our business. We have so much worry about disappointing people. There's so many different layers and facets at play that even if you had crystal clarity on exactly what you should lean out and cut in your business, it makes the act of doing so challenging. But you layer on top of that sometimes we do not have the clarity in what we should be leaning out. And it makes something that sounds like such a simple concept actually something that's really challenging for people to do, which is why I work with as many businesses as I work with, right? Because sometimes you need that extra support and having someone help you clearly see what to be focused on and what not to be focused on, or you need that extra support and accountability and reminder of why you made the decisions that you made so that you actually follow through and make those changes. So I'm going to keep today at a little bit more of an accessible level as far as things that you can do to lean out, but we'll talk about some of those deeper things as well. And if you need any support with it, of course, you know where to find me. Always at leanoutmethod.com/consult to get directly onto my schedule. But let's start with the core things and the high level things that you can lean out in your business that are going to both give you back space, give you back time, free up some of your energy, and also position you for growth. And when I think about the work that I do with many of my clients, we go through 4 key stages. First, we simplify, then we stabilize, then we scale, then we sustain. This is what I teach people when I certify them in my methods. And this is the work that I do with clients when I work with them privately. So, in the simplify category, this is where we're leaning things out. Simplify and lean out are synonymous with one another. The main areas that I look that I'm simplifying when I first start partnering with a business is their business model and their offers. Next is their whole business operations. And then next is their time. And so let's start here in reverse order with your time because this is going to be the one that's probably most accessible. If you are working more than you want to right now, or maybe you're at an okay place right now, but when you look forward to the growth ahead of you, you realize there is no way that I could sustain that. I don't have space in my schedule for anything else. I want you to take a really careful look at your time and what you're investing your time in and make sure that it is on things that are giving you enough of a return. And return isn't always financial, right? And so if you think about a return on investment, is it bringing in money to the business now or in the future? Is it providing fulfillment for you? Is it something you really enjoy doing? And is it something that's aligned with where you want to take your business next? Or do you still have those meetings with those people or that thing that you're a part of that you participate in because you always have? But the reality is, it is not aligned with where you want to go next. And it might even be keeping you from where you want to go next because it's taking up precious time that you could be investing in your next level. So, your time is one of the absolute best things to take a look at for spring and to start to lean out right away. So, look first of all at, is there anything that you are currently doing today that you do not need to be doing at all? That is the first place to look at. And I would say there's 2 levels of do not need to be doing it all. The first level is it's not necessary for your business. It can be cut entirely. The second level is maybe it is important for the business, but it does not need to be done by you. And you can either share that and have somebody from your team take ownership of it, or maybe it goes on the list of the things that you want to be hiring for next. So that's the first piece of this. The next piece of this is once you've gotten rid of any of the things that do not need to be on your schedule, is really strategically looking at how you have your time structured. A lot of times I'm able to help business owners get time back in their day without even cutting anything. And a lot of times it's more about batching together like things and giving yourself more control over your schedule than it is about anything else. So I did this with my client, Jen, when we had first started working together. I've talked about Jen many times on this podcast, and you've heard her on the podcast in interviews in the past before. But when we first started working together, her schedule looked very similar to most of the business owner schedules that I start working with. And it was, she spent a lot of time on networking calls with other people. Sometimes those calls would turn into great referral partnerships. Sometimes they would turn into clients. But a lot of times it was just more someone saying, hey, you should meet this person, or someone reached out and she was spending a lot of time talking to people that never really went anywhere. Wasn't someone she was going to become a friend with, wasn't someone she was going to, become their coach. And it definitely wasn't someone who was going to build some kind of mutually beneficial relationship or collaboration long term. She also had her calendar open, so people could kind of pop on her calendar whenever she had open space. This meant that her days were a bit unpredictable. Her week was a bit unpredictable. Her clients had access to her calendar to be able to schedule their coaching calls whenever they wanted. Other people had access to her calendar to be able to schedule networking calls and get to know you calls with her whenever they wanted. Sales calls were open for prospects and leads to reach out and put time on her calendar at any time. And so her calendar was kind of not really her own. And trying to balance all of that, she never felt fully settled because her days were really different, and she also really wanted to protect her time in the mornings to have space to be able to work on her business because she felt like she never had big enough blocks of time to be able to do the strategic thinking work that she needed for her business because she'd have a meeting here, a 30-minute break there, another meeting here. Sometimes she'd be back to back and things. And so she felt like she worked really, really hard every week and did not always end the week where she would really want to from a results or progress perspective. So, although over time we did make some cuts to her calendar, the thing that made the biggest impact and biggest influence on her time was restructuring her calendar. We set specific times that were protected times in the morning for her to do the strategic thinking work on her business. She does not take any client calls in the mornings anymore. She does not take any sales calls. She doesn't do any calls in the morning. That's her time and her time only to work on her business. We then set focus blocks for when she meets with clients, when she leads her group programs, and when she takes networking calls. We also looked at refining who she talks to from a networking call perspective and how people can get on her calendar and who gets access to her calendar. So she's getting more return from the calls that she has. Not everyone becomes a lifelong friend or client or, business referral partner, but more often than not, the people that she's talking to end up being a really great fit for one of those things. And what it really took was just a commitment to looking at which types of activities were the most important for her, which were the things that moved the needle in her business and that gave her personal fulfillment, as well as generating the results that she wanted to see as she's growing her business. Putting the structure in place in her schedule. And then this is the key step, having her admin go in and align all of her available time slots in her scheduling tool that people get access to with those times. So there are no times available on her calendar outside of those select windows on those select days that she sets. Now, maybe you already have this in place on your calendar. I hope you do. But if you don't, this is the place that I would start. And if you do, it is a good time to take a look at it and do a quick refresh to say, is this working? Is this working the way that I want? Where, when I look back on my weeks, do I feel like I wasted time, or do I feel like time could have been spent on something that was higher value? You've heard me talk about the Chuck technique before. If you have not already gotten that free guide, head over to leanoutmethod.com/Chuck. And it will give you a printable as well as some instructions on how to take the things that you're doing in your business and run them through the categories of cut, hold, change, or keep, and the different criteria that you want to be assessing things against. It's a lot of what we just talked through, but it's a really, really helpful guide. It's something I recommend that you use in your business every 30 days at a minimum. It is super valuable. So if you've not already gotten that, go grab the guide. And if you rewind in time a little bit, I did a short 15-minute podcast episode where I walk you through Chuck in detail and exactly how to use it. Recommend that you go find that episode and listen to it, because that will help you get clear on what is important and what's not. It'll help you lean things out in general, but it can also apply to your time and your calendar. And that is one of the most, I think, important things that you can do, because if you can get yourself hours back in the week, that in and of itself is going to be hugely valuable. You're probably working more than you should be. But even if you're not getting actual hours back, but you're able to restructure your days so you're getting more value out of those hours and you're ending your week feeling really energized and really accomplished instead of really drained and depleted and frustrated that you feel like you worked really hard but didn't get anywhere. That makes such a big difference in your momentum in your business, but also in your own personal fulfillment and productivity. And so I think looking at your time, optimizing your time is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. And that to me is a key part of leaning out. It is something I do with every single person that I work with, whether working with them privately or whether working with them inside Simplify to Scale. And some of the tools and techniques that I just walked you through at a very high level here should get you back time or should help you realign your time pretty quickly, like as in by the end of this week. So highly recommend that you circle back and take those actions. The next thing that you want to be looking at where you can simplify and lean out is your business operations. So just a few things to check is, where are you paying for tools and technology that you're not using at all? Where are you manually doing something that you already have a tool or technology that can do for you? It can either automate it for you or it can dramatically reduce the amount of effort and the amount of potential error by taking on pieces of it. And for the things that are remaining that need to be done manually, where can you put some kind of system in place, which could include a tool? It could just simply be some kind of process document, could be training for your team, could be a combination of all of the above. But for the things that need to actually be done that have a manual flavor to them or a manual component to them, how can you systematize them in a way that gets you the best possible results and the most consistent results with the least amount of effort? This is one where you're going to have to invest a little bit of time up front in order to save yourself a whole lot of time every single week going forward. And that's why I recommend you start with your time, because if you can start by simplifying your time and your schedule, you're probably going to get yourself back some time. And then you can take that time and invest it in simplifying your business operations, systematizing what you can, and partnering with your team to develop some of those systems if they don't already exist. And that investment of time up front will save you and your team a lot of time going forward. And that will position you to be able to handle the growth that's ahead. And just to be clear, when I say systems, I'm not necessarily talking about creating detailed SOPs for every single thing that you do in your business. While SOPs can be super valuable and can have a place in the business, I find most people immediately think of SOPs and jump into the detail in the documentation aspect when they hear the word systems. And frequently, that's not what's actually going to give you back time. It's not what's going to actually help you simplify and streamline things. And sometimes it's just a whole lot of effort that never actually gets used, doesn't get maintained, and ends up actually becoming a waste of time instead. I'm really talking much more about strategic systems that are designed to help you run a really operationally efficient business and designed to help you be able to grow your business in a scalable and sustainable way. Now, the third piece of this is your business model. The biggest issues that I see with business models is one of two things. The first one is that the business model that you have is never actually going to take you to the vision that you have for your business. They're not in alignment. The vision that you have is not going to be supported, attainable, or remotely possible with the way that you currently have your business and your offer structured. So alignment is a really big piece of that. But then the second piece of that is complexity. I see so many business models and so many offers and offer suites that are unnecessarily complex. And it makes it really hard to successfully attract new leads, market and sell your offer, deliver on that offer, and be able to retain clients or continue to move them into and ascend them into next level offers to deepen their results and transformation. The first place to look is at your offers. And one of the areas where I see unnecessary complexity and misalignment is having way too many offers. Every single offer that you have in your business is something that you have to market and sell and something that you need to successfully deliver. Now, sometimes delivery looks like your time where you're showing up and leading calls and doing things live. Other times, delivery means people need access to something digitally if it's a course. But there's a whole lot of steps that go along with marketing, selling, and delivering any offer. The more of them that you have, the more complexity that you're adding into your business, the more things that you need to update and maintain. So if your business is in that 6 to 7 multi 7 figure range, you can actually have a fairly simple offer suite and be able to have incredible reach, incredible impact in a very profitable business. We often hear how we need to have multiple revenue streams and we want to diversify our revenue. All of those things are really important. And I absolutely agree with that. But I think there's a time and place for everything. And I see a lot of people emulating these really large businesses too early and having too many things and adding too much complexity before they really need it. You can scale your business to 7 figures or even multiple 7 figures with a single SSO, what I call your scalable signature offer. And to go along with that, sometimes you have a lower ticket offer that will bring people in so that they sign up and join your signature offer. And you frequently will have something behind the scenes that you are sending people into when they finish that offer. So for me in Lean Out Method, my scalable signature offer is my Simplify to Scale mentorship experience. I have other lower cost ways that you can start to work with me on your path into Simplify to Scale. And once you complete Simplify to Scale, you actually get access to and the ability to join me inside my accelerator that you don't hear me talk about ever. You don't see it on my website. Really, if you go to my website, you only will see Simplify to Scale, how to work with me privately in my system shop, and that's it. And that's done very strategically and very intentionally. But behind the scenes, there are other offers, but all of my focus is on Simplify to Scale. And when I made that shift in my business, instead of doing as many different things as I had done in the past, that made such a huge difference. Not only did it help me scale faster, but it helped me scale much more profitably because I had a lot less moving pieces, a lot less complexity, a lot less tools and tech, a lot less team needs. And it made things really repeatable and really simple. As I'm getting ready to launch the new division of Lean Out Method, we are building everything that way from day one. There are going to be 2 offers, and that's it. There's one that's more of the feeder, smaller offer, and then we have one that is the core offer. And that is going to be the entire business model done very strategically and very intentionally to keep things lean and to keep things simple. So when you look at your business model, when you look at your offers or your offer suite, how does it feel to you? Does it feel really simple? Does it feel really streamlined? Does it feel relatively easy to market and to sell and to deliver? Do you have a clear path for people to be able to continue working with you? And are people getting good enough results that they want to continue working with you and they want to tell other people about you and your work? If the answer is yes to all of that, that's fantastic. Your goal then is to sustain that. You want to stabilize it, you want to scale it, and you want to sustain it. But if you are not yet there, which very few businesses are fully there, then you want to simplify. You want to look at how can you simplify and lean out what you have? How can you simplify and lean out what you have so you get better results from less effort and a whole lot less complexity for both you, your team, and your clients? So those are the 3 core things that you want to focus on simplifying for your spring lean out: your time, your operations, and your business model. Really laser focusing in on your offers and your offer suite. If you want any support with this, this is what we do together inside Simplify to Scale, which we are currently accepting a few more people into before I close the doors down until the fall. so I can shift my focus and really laser focus in on the new division of Lean Out Method, which I'm super excited to tell you more about coming up really soon. So head over to leanoutmethod.com/scale, get your application in, and go ahead and join us for this final cohort that we're going to be doing until the September or October timeframe. If you are ready to simplify your business, if you want to lean things out, and if you want to position your business to be able to grow in a scalable and sustainable way, which is what we are all about and what we do together as a collective. There's one more thing I want to leave you with before we wrap up this episode on your spring lean out. And that is, if you think about spring cleaning, a lot of times we go through, we throw things out, we refresh things, we reorganize things. We're literally and figuratively opening up all the windows and opening things up. Make sure you carve out a little bit of space to do the same in your physical office space as well as your digital office space. Nothing feels better than giving your office a little bit of a refresh. I recommend that you literally empty your desk, maybe even empty your cabinets or your drawers or your shelves. Give everything a good clean out and put back in place only those things that you really feel are going to support you in getting to the next level of growth that you are looking forward to throughout this year. Maybe introduce some new things that will inspire you, or some things that really will help you reflect where you want to go next. Maybe get some plants and some greenery and bring some new life into the space, and really make sure that your physical space is organized, it's clean, it's re-energized, and it's ready for that next level. And when you look at your digital space, maybe you've got a million things saved to your desktop. Maybe you've got things all over the place that are disorganized. Just give yourself a little bit of time, put on some great music, and go in and just clean things up so you're looking at things as a fresh start, and you are looking at things both literally and energetically as ready for something new, ready for something really incredible, and ready for a whole lot of growth. Let's make the most of this spring season and start with a spring lean out to get yourself ready and positioned for a whole lot of amazing success throughout the rest of this year. I will see you again next week. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode. If you have not yet taken our scalability assessment, I invite you to head to leanoutmethod.com/assessment and take our interactive assessment that's going to help you look at how simple, how sustainable, and how scalable your business currently is. It includes personalized recommendations of where to focus next to get your time back, to increase your impact, increase your profits, and ultimately step into your rich, fulfilled life. And finally, we'd love to see you inside our signature program, Simplify to Scale. You can head to leanoutmethod.com/ops to find all of the details on how we can help you uplevel your operations and get out of the day-to-day of your business.